Hello and welcome back to the gunsNglory show. This is going to be a long one. I'm going to show you how to take a garage door and insulate it to R10 and then to R20. Scripture verse for the day, Ecclesiastes 3:1-8. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. In this section of our insulation installation video, we will take 2-inch foam board and apply it to this paper thin garage door, which effectively, without any insulation, is more of a radiator than anything else. All it does is block the wind. I did, on that thought, actually, I did put new, I don't know what they call this junk, but I left the old one in it, and now I've got 2 layers of it. It was just wide enough to fit over that really nicely. I wasn't planning on putting that in there. I wouldn't have, I said that right then. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. I've got a piece already cut from having done the right side of this. First thing you're going to want to do, get my act together up here, is to find out this dimension from here to here, and the second will be from here to here. Now we've got 19 3/8 here, 51 1/8 here. Now, quite by accident, I found out that when I cut that 51 1/8 inch piece off, the cutoff that was 48 inches by whatever that is, minus 96, happens to fit in here within 2 inches, which is the thickness of one of these pieces. So I measured a piece, cut it 19 3/8 of an inch, and then divided it 4 times to make 3 cuts to make 4 2-inch pieces to fill in the gap. We'll go over cutting this stuff in a minute. We gotta move that outside because I ain't picking up all that stuff off my floor. Bad enough, I gotta figure out how to get it out of the grass. I'm thinking probably setting the lawnmower real low. Just applying this stuff with good old liquid nails. Make sure what you can see. Let's see. Oh, you're good. Simply applying a bead to this. And a bead to that. You're gonna wind up using like 2 tubes per 2 sections, I think. I think it's about how I figured out. Now, I'm not filling this thing full of nails and screws, especially from the outside, that would look bad. So, this is how it's attached. You cut your boards a little bit fat and jam them in there. After I'm finished with the board, I come back along the whole perimeter and then seal it. I don't see it coming off of there. I gotta figure out what to cover this stuff with because it is flammable. As long as you use it right, that worked out amazingly well. That's unusual. Like gasoline is flammable. You put it in your car, but you don't light it, you know. Most of the time you use gasoline, you don't light it, you just use it. I want to shove quite hard that way to seal that bead up there and to make sure that I've got the room with my 2-inch pre-cut piece there. If not, I can always trim it up. So, like I say, go through these tubes of caulk pretty quickly. My knife in there ain't any good, really. But you cut them that way, and you poke it out. There's a foil thing there, just like that. Okay, push that in, and that will release. Sometimes that'll get hung up on the back side. You just walk it forward, you start seeing the material flowing through. Now we apply the bead here. We've already got our bead on this side, and we'll apply 3 rather thick dollops, like there, to get a hold of that piece. When you're done, hit that, it releases some of the pressure, it won't run out as bad. I like to put all my writing in, like facing in. But that's too tight, so I'm gonna have to trim that out. I'll be right back. There, now I've got it trimmed up. Cracked it, but it doesn't make any difference. For some reason, this thing wanted to go that way. I couldn't get the gap to close up. It's done that to me a couple times. I ain't sure why. At this point, yeah, it's still on. Good. We're going to fill this gap, make this airtight. All the way around. When you apply it, follow it back with your finger. You gather up some like that, save it for a crack. See? Ain't no point in wasting it, that stuff adds up. And with Biden's building prices right now, man. You know, they're gouging people on screws. You're getting screwed on screws. I should have said that the first time. If you notice, the box of like 3/4 inch long screws, you know, like drywall screw, the black ones, that people don't use real often, they're like $4.30, something like that, a box. Now, the box of 2-inch screws, just like them, just longer. Now those are like $22 a box. It didn't used to be that way. But they're gouging. The economy's starting to crash, and they're trying to hide it in certain places. Like the lumber costs, because most people don't buy lumber, so they don't see it. They're gonna have to buy the house pretty soon. You can hide for only so long. But that is, you know what, John MacArthur was just saying that it's a result of the judgment of God. I agree, America has entered into judgment, and wicked leaders are part of that judgment. Well, it's part of being judged, is to have wicked leaders. Now this stuff cleans up good with soap. I forgot to release that trigger and it oozed out. This just cleans up really nice with soap and water, so you can get your fingers right in it. Whenever you're using like a water-based caulk, latex caulk, or sealant, or glue, adhesive, that kind of thing, you can get a wet rag and it just wipes right up. Squeeze out most of the water and just follow it out like that. Now you're not wanting to soak it because you don't want to change the concentration of the adhesive. But whether you're doing bathroom tile or insulating this garage door with 2-inch R10, the concept is the same. You don't want to dig that out, just let the rag float over the top surface of this, especially when you got a deep crack like that. And the only thing to do the whole door is to do the same thing you watched me do in the last, I don't know what, 5 minutes or something. When your rag gets loaded up, rinse it out. And continue. You have a nice clean job when you're finished. If you want to grab a fresh rag and follow it up, nice fresh dry rag, and you got it finished. Get in after a couple little spots. Got a little hole, close it up. Little hole up there. Grab that off the tip of the caulk gun. Seal that up. Check our work. We're good to go. All right, now let's go cut a piece. I said that I would show you that and forgot. Nice, neat edges. Even with a nice big gap like that, it's a little bit aggravating, but it's what you get sometimes. It's fine. Now we'll go cut that piece for there, and the cutoff will go in there with its 2-inch section by the center beam. All right, let's get this cut up. I said all right again. All right. I say all right too much. I say so too much. I swear too much too. That's not good. All right. It's not really simple to work with. You're going to need a tape measure, a pencil, a T-square, and a carpenter's saw. We go at 19 3/8. Your dimensions will probably not be the same as mine. A little bit fat. Over here, around about halfway through the sheet, another 19 3/8, a little bit fat. Do it again. Come over here to this side, same thing, 19 3/8, a little bit fat. Around about half of the sheet, because this is 4 feet. 19 3/8 fat. And down again here, 19 3/8 fat. Now if I brought my 8-foot level out here, I'd set that on and strike those two lines that way. But we'll get back to it. I go 51, and it was an 1/8 fat, just barely. Same thing up here. 51 1/8. Just a little bit fat. All right. Now my square is a little bit off, and I gotta buy a new one. It doesn't make a whole lot of difference because you're measuring and you're just gonna score your lines and your measurements, not necessarily from your square. So, as that square, like I said, ain't. It misses that by quite a bit. I like using the pencil on here because it makes a nice groove more than it does leave a mark on of any kind. point our mark here. And our mark there. And we'll mark off of the numbers, not off of the mechanical advantages of this tool here. This is a little off balance, but we'll get her done. I've got two of them sawhorses, but I'm using the other one for a desk at the moment. I was applying quite a bit of downforce with my pinky there to keep that from moving. Thank you. The important thing to notice is that you don't cut through your table and mess up your saw. You want to eyeball for plumb. And once I go through about that far, I'm going to come through and start from this side. That way, if you come all the way across, you don't break your corner off. Wind up with cleaner cuts that way. And now you can put that side over top of that table, and it'll help support the weight of the material. Nice 2-inch piece of this is pretty rigid. It isn't too prone to cracking. But if you try to keep it protected and bugger when you can. I'm trying to figure out where the table's at. So, okay, we're good. So I don't hit the table. I don't want to go off the blade either. There we go. Take that little chip and chop it off. And this is how you remove that crap that's all over my grass that I'm not quite sure how to deal with yet. And cut through here and here. And we'll do that side first. As I was shooting this, I decided I wanted to show you this in detail. You want to cut that off at a little bit of an angle, the tip. And when you start to flow the material, it'll actually bubble up behind like that. Now, if you have your finger in here like that, you're basically making this shape all the way down it. But if you keep that bead, let me get that off of there. If you keep that bead right in front of your finger, let it build up, it will actually cause pressure between the door, the styrofoam, and the caulk, and it will force it deep into that crack. Like so. You come back with your rag and clean up what's left. Here we've got the garage door set up with 2 layers of 2-inch foam board. And as you can see, we got it so it'll just make that corner. We'll show you how to do that. And this garage door is set up with only 1 layer of the 2-inch. This one giving an R value of 10, that one giving an R value of 20. Let's get started. I had to adjust the spring tension on the overhead door, or they call it a torsion spring, I think. Anyway, I didn't film it because it's frankly dangerous, and I had never done one before. I knew how they worked, but I don't want to mess around with a camera when I'm learning something new that's quite hazardous. So I may film a clip of that in here and edit it in here, I don't know. But this isn't the way the door's supposed to work. So right now I just got it over adjusted. I didn't go crazy with it, but I've got it set so when we add the extra weight of the foam and the caulk with the glue, which is frankly most of the weight, that it will operate smoothly and easily. So we have an 8-foot sheet. Obviously I want to start in the center and go both ways. Let's just do about here. And we're going to add 2 pieces at the end, which will make it easier to cut around things like the hinges and to fit it to the edge of the track. I like to have it pretty close to that, and we'll come in with a hot knife and trim it up. So let me get the measurement off the other door to save me a little bit of time. At 21 inches, that's right. I got 21 inches on that one. I don't want to go all the way to the ground with it, because you want to leave room for water. Where are you at? Point. There. With water or snow, you want to give yourself a little bit of room. So I wanted to go from the bottom of this edge right here up as high as I could go on the first sheet, which is a little bit higher than this. And we notch around that just a little bit. I guess let's get started. I decided instead of trying to get this stuff back out of the grass in the front yard, I would just cut it all back up here. It made a whole lot more sense. Anyway, you put the lawnmower all the way down, it sucks it back up pretty good. So I'm gonna use this piece that was left over from the other door. It's kind of cool, keep me from cutting into a new sheet, because I'm 1 sheet short because somebody didn't know how to drive a forklift truck. Real happy about that. 21 inches. I'll make a mark on the other side of it. Have that all level since we built Oak Ridge. I bought it for my dad. He was so happy with it. It was $200 back then. I wouldn't know what it is now. Magnesium, mahogany, I think. Heavy and it's straight. I didn't want that laying down overnight and getting moisture on it. Same thing with that. Hope you don't mind long videos. I tend to take my time. Get off of me. Yeah, double checking my factory edge. I like to keep it on top. Makes it look nicer. I can make you watch me cut all 4 of these ones. In case I forget to do it. Mark your center while this thing's still here. Save you a lot of trouble. Okay, let's go get it fitted. Yep, I forgot to mark the center of it. We'll get it fitted to the door in a minute. You gotta go around that handle and that hinge. Figured I'd do that pretty soon. Rotate your pencil while you're drawing a line. That'll keep it sharp for you. Your lines won't get wider as quickly. Now this will be the cutout for the handle. This will be the cutout for the hinge. You just take your center mark, hold the board over it, kind of eyeball where it goes, mark it, come up, whatever this case it was 2 1/4 inch. Same thing, come back down. In this case it was 1 1/4 inch. And nip those out of there. So wouldn't you know it, I done forgot to bring my torch. And my knife, because that's how you get the rest of that out of there. Hold up. About the time that melts, it's ready. I'm just trying to burn that off. Probably shouldn't do that in the house. Melts faster than a hot knife through butter. Nice and clean too. You can tell the difference on the edge. Stuff burns easy, real easy. You want to cover it with something. I'll probably cover it with aluminum. I don't know yet. We'll see. Let's go put this one on. This really is a simple project to do, but it uses up a little bit of time and a lot of liquid nails, like a bunch of it. Just get a case. Don't even lie to yourself. Get the bigger case. Just tell yourself this way. You'll use it somewhere else, because you will. This stuff on a construction site is about as handy as white glue in an elementary. About as necessary too. Alright, now, so we don't waste time and material. Put that in the middle. And then use it to make a mark here and a mark on the other side. We'll stop our adhesive there. And I like to try to put stuff together without these screws, but I had to have them this time. There's no way around it. But it only takes a couple. We've got 4 on each section. There's 2 here, 1 here, and 1 on over there. 3-inch screws. Yeah, black ones. So we're gonna put in the drill. There we go. I say that all the time too. A little bit cloudy today. Kind of dreary. Oh well. Nope, that'll be in the way. Why do I call it caulk? Same reason everybody calls them all Band-Aids, even though they're not all Band-Aid or Kleenex. Now, you don't have to follow back up and seal this on this layer because of this, what we're doing right here. That'll seal it up just fine. Oops. You gotta make sure when you're running the adhesive or caulk that you're always got the material on this material, or that will happen. This is a little bit deeper, I guess, so we'll fill it a little bit more on this, which is it was case on all of them. It was expected, but it's not an issue. I like to just stand one right on top of the other. And no, I don't know how many you can stack. I've never bothered to figure it out. Oh, let's stop right there at that line. Like I said, we use a bunch of this stuff around here. That wasn't a full one. Pretty close. Sometimes you just gotta use it, the material. Air bubble. It's a 30-year project. Be up for that long anyway, probably, if all goes as planned. So buy the extra tube, buy the better whatever, if at all possible, every time. Will save you in the long run. Double checking the location of my drill and my screws. Try to put this on there squarely so you don't smush your material all over it. You want to keep that glue standing proud can be. Get the best adhesion out of it. I'm checking to make sure it's square with the door before I give it a shove. Really start to get it committed to its location. I'm checking the center bolts along the line there, which for what we're doing is good enough. I'm checking the distance between the aluminum and the foam. Get it centered up. 2 screws, and go high enough where you get above these hinge plates. Save yourself a lot of trouble. As soon as it grabs quit, you'll wind up with about 1/4 of an inch below the surface, which is all you need. You just need the screw to pull on it a little. That's it. Otherwise, it'll hang on the screw shaft until it's dry. If you wanted, you could take the screws out when you're finished. But the prices of these things, I just might get them out of that door. And this one when I'm finished. Like that. All right. That step is done. We have about 6.5 inches. We've got about 6 and maybe 3/8. That one was a little bit wider. This is 6.5, which tells me that this thing's probably crooked yet. It is. I can see it on the spacing. Let me move that real quick. That'll save me a lot of trouble later. Okay, now you can see with the oval space in that bracket, the pattern that's going on here. So loosen these two up and move them. That was unexpected. Crack it loose. I don't think we need to move the top one. Loosen the top one at all. It moved all by itself as soon as the tension came off of it. And the wheels, let's see, can you see one? Yeah, the wheel that's in here, I'll move back and forth for you quite a bit. I think I'll just tighten it up right there. Well, it's just the 6.5. No, not quite. We ain't gonna get that much out of it, I don't think. Max it out, let's see. Nope. All right, I'll just hold it over there with my foot and tighten it back down. This should be plumb when you install it. And don't strip those. You can get another bolt, you might have to drill it. Like I would get, if I stripped that one, I would drill 2 holes through that carefully so I didn't punch through the wood too. And put 2 bolts where it was. That almost stripped, that cracked. I don't want to do that right now. I'm just saying that's how you would fix it if you wanted to. So, we're going to 6 1/4. 6 3/8. Over here, wow, we got about almost 6 3/4, 6 7/8. So everything's jacked up here, but it ain't my board. It's visually correct. Oh well, we'll straighten it up. This side, one at a time. All right, we're gonna go with 6 1/4, and then 6 3/8 at the top. Whenever I get a cutoff like that last one, that's a full 8 foot, I always toss it off to the side, leave it somewhere else later. Let's see, make sure you can see this. Nope, there we go. Okay, I like to keep the factory edges whenever I can. I like to pick those up because they're no fun to stumble on. I'm clumsy enough as it is, I don't need any help. So it was 6 1/4 at the bottom, 6 3/8 at the top. I seem to have misplaced my pencil. All right, we'll play it by ear. Rats. All right. Let's use that. 6 1/4, 6 1/2. I want the 6 3/8 on the top because I want to keep the factory edge on the top. So we'll 6 3/8. And we'll go 21 inches because that was the size of that particular board. Oh, nice. That's where we were last time. It's a little big. 21. And we're going over 6 1/4 here at the bottom. All right. That is normal to do that kind of thing. The trick with that is not shoving your tape measure over with whatever utensil you happen to be using to scratch with. A little downforce on it always helps. Strike. Oh well. Ain't necessary anyhow. cut it all with a hot knife. If you wanted, I think they use a hot wire in the factories, but that's free. It doesn't stink. Doesn't pollute as much either, which is good, I guess. Gonna go off the top and the bottom. Spin around here and have a look. See where our hinge pin ends. Make a mark there. Then come over here and see how high up we're gonna go and mark it here, like that. Missed it. All right. Like that. So. I'm gonna cut on the outside of that line. Obviously I missed. Once it gets set into the track, you don't want to move it too much. That'll work. Okay. Go to the top side of things. You could even eyeball out to here if you want. You're only gonna put down there about 3/4 inch, and then come over. Take that out of there and stick it on. That was easy. There. That'll embed it into the bolt holes. Give it a couple of good shoves on there. Again, we've got to put that on there a little bit thicker. Same thing with the edge. Just want to make sure it grabs it. You want to seal all the way around it with insulation. It doesn't really want to work otherwise. Just use up, no. Why waste? I was going to use it up, but why waste it? There's more on there that needs to be, but I kind of wanted to kind of backfill that a little bit. Push that down in there and put one screw right in the middle of it. Otherwise, you'll come back in a half an hour and this will be about 3/8 inch below where you want it. Probably right up off the hinges and everything. Pulleys, whatever you want to call them, wheels. Now take that straight in until it stops. You don't want a big old wobbly hole because the only thing you got here is the head to hold it on and it's not wide. You burn that all up and you're wasting your time. Start slow with the drill, speed up gradually. If it comes off early, just drive it in. I do like to close this up, however. Mostly it just makes it look better. At least in my opinion. Not like sealing the bottom of it actually does a whole lot of good, but it'll keep crap from getting down in there, at least on the top side. And this will look a whole lot cleaner. Kind of pack that in. Learn all kinds of tricks about how to handle this glue. Why waste it? Drive it in there. Get a moist rag. Ouch. That hurt. Moist rag, hell, that's wet. Oh well. I got that deep, real deep. You're left with a nice clean edge there. Just do the same thing to the other side. And I'll show you how to deal with the pivot and the spacing there. One of the most important things about this project is to make sure that the door can go up and down. Otherwise you built yourself a wall. I wish I had I've got a factory edge here, by golly, but apparently I don't have another. So we just sort of place this up here and see if we can split the difference. See, maybe we can make these corners meet right here and find out how that comes out. Right now it's a little bit of below that one and right even with the top. What if we just kind of split the difference between them, which is what I think we'll do. I guess we'll start right at the bottom edge of the foam on this board and go a little bit above it. Let's see what our, a little bit above it, about a quarter, not quite. Let's see what that comes up to be. These are all going to be the same. We'll start at the bottom edge here. We'll come up, a quarter inch down. That puts about 19 inches. Let's go about 18 7/8 with the with this dimension. I think 18 7/8. And we'll come back in here and check it. There's a little trick I want to show you. Okay, so watch. I've got our center marked. I've got our two sides marked according to level. So I'm just going to kind of set this thing about where I think it needs to be. Pick up the door. Go ahead and let that close on it. And at its apex, set it down on the edge there. For some reason. Hold it still and then bring it back down. You don't want to let it move. And then you can get on here and get down here and mark it. Oops. It moved. That's alright, we'll put it back on our marks. Mark, get set, go. Now I want to see what that looks like. Just for fun, because I got an example on the other side of the garage, and it makes it real easy to see what you're doing. Now I've used the factory edge for marking, but I actually want to put that on top. So after we're done marking that, we flip this thing back over and put it back in. And take your marks, find your marks, and then compare that to your level up here. You're looking to make sure this edge matches with this one all the way down. I'll keep everything nice and straight. Keep your center in line. And when you've got it where it goes, pull it up one more time and make sure that it's going to work. It does. It works perfectly. Sorry I couldn't show you that angle. And then I like to mark the top and then glue it to that point. Just like the other section, you just need 2 screws. Hold this in until it's dry, basically. Follow your center line and your top marks. And at this point, the thing should take care of itself. good to me. Got a bent screw. A little harder to deal with, but not impossible. There. Give it a real good shove. Get that set into the adhesive. You don't want it to set up wrong. And we'll make our end pieces the same way. Just measure it, cut out your notches, bond it, put one screw in the center of it. Just repeat that for the entirety of the door. I suppose the only thing really left to show in this is just to trim it out. We'll put this in, since this one happened to fit the way I like it to, just snugly, all by itself. And bed those bolts into the back of it. Put that one screw in. That way it don't sag. As soon as we trim it, that pressure's gone. A little deeper than I wanted it, but that don't matter. It's fine. You get the knife and the torch, and heat it up, and then trim it. Also seals up the edges, make a nice, if you were to use a jig, it'd make a nice edge. Don't breathe that. We're just following that rail all the way down. That's it. Now it's just a matter of getting a hold of that thing and getting it up out of there. There. Seal that up. Call it good. Have a good one.